Hare Krishna. Next part of our program is Sunday Feast lecture. And today we have a special Sunday Feast speaker, Her Grace Jaya Subhadra mataji. And everybody knows we don't need any introduction, but pleasure of the devotees. I'm telling few words about Mataji. Mataji is actively participating in all services. Mataji is a core member, and she does garland garland making coordination. Mataji helps in book distribution, cooking, and deity decoration, all other services. With that, we are welcoming Mataji with Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradari, Jaya Gopi Jana Girivaradari, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana,
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana,
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana,
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana,
Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari,
Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Sarveshwari Mataji. So, Hare Krishna devotees, thank you so much for attending the Sunday Feast program. Today, we have a Bhagavad Gita class. Usually we have a Bhagavad Gita class. Today we are going to have a class on the appearance of Lord Jagannath. Rath Yatra is coming up in Puri. So we will see how Lord Jagannath's form came about. So we'll start with the, it's not on, it's on. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So how many of us here know who's Lord Jagannath? Means you have seen the form of the Lord and also know some details, or you have just seen the form of the Lord. Know the form of the Lord. Okay. So there are some devotees who may not know the Lord's form. Veena Mataji, you can go to the next slide. So that's Lord Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra. Lord Jagannath is on our right hand side. Subhadra is in the middle, Lady Subhadra, and then Lord Balram is on our left hand side. So that's a very unique form of Lord Jagannath, Krishna, right? Usually we see Krishna, we have Krishna here, Radharani Krishna. Krishna is standing as a two-handed form. He is also known as, his form is also Tribhanga, banded in three different ways. So he's known as Tribhanga. His pose is like that. He's banded in three different, he's curved in three different ways. So places. So Jagannath, if you see, he's not standing as such. He has very big eyes. His hands are drawn apart from his body and so forth. So it's a very different from Krishna playing a flute here and, it's a different form of Krishna. But nonetheless, it's Krishna himself. Jagannath is Krishna. But why does he look so different here than Krishna here, right? So we'll see how this form of the Lord came about. There's a story, there's a pastime that happened, and we'll discuss that. It's very interesting. Mataji, you can go to the next slide. Thank you. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is Madhya Leela. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this chapter, if you see, is describing, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and he's describing about Krishna, how Krishna looks, his features, his form, and so forth. So this is the verse, Madhya Leela, chapter 21, verse 101. I'll read the translation, and there are some important words. So it said, Lord Krishna has many pastimes, of which his pastimes as a human being are the best. His form as a human being is the supreme transcendental form. In this form, he is a coward boy. He carries a flute in his hand, and his youth is new. He is also an expert dancer. All this is just suitable for his pastime as a human being. So if we go to the word-to-word translation, the next slide, we can see there are some certain words that are used to describe Krishna. Nara Leela, that his pastimes are as human being. Nara means human, Leela is pastime. Similarly, Nara Vapu, his body is just like that of a human being. And Natavara, he's an expert dancer, and his Nara Leelara, for exhibiting the pastimes as a human being. So it's all, of course, we are born in the image of the Lord, right? Krishna's form, transcendental form, original form is two-handed form, Shyama Sundar. And out of which he has other forms, according to his pastimes, he takes different forms. So this is Krishna's form as Shyama Sundar is the original form, but when he appears as Lord Jagannath, he appears as a very unique form, and it is no much semblance to Krishna's form. So there are many misconceptions of how this form came about. Sometimes some people, think that it's a Buddhist. Buddhists believe in this form, and that's how it came about. But there are different misconceptions about it. But actually, we'll see how this form came about today. So once upon a time in Satyuga, Yuga means a millennium. It's an age like a whole, it's a longest time period, Yuga. There are four types of millenniums. The first one is Satyuga, and this pastime happened in Satyuga. So in Satyuga, or in that millennium, each of the millenniums, there are 4 millenniums I said, right? Each of the millenniums have a different way for self-realization, different process for self-realization. Satyuga, anybody knows what is the process for self-realization? Meditation. So there's no deity form, deity worship of the Lord. There's not at all, because the people are so pious, they meditate on the form of the Lord within the heart, and that's how they, connect with the Lord. Because of so much purity, there's no vice, nothing, it's just, they're very pure. So this king, his name is King Indradyumna, he was ruling at that time, and he developed a very, very strong desire, hankering to worship and see the form of the Lord, the form of Krishna. But none was available, meaning because there's no deity worship, no form of the Lord. So he got very morose. And although he was a very, very wonderful king, ruling very nicely, his kingdom was abundant in everything, all of a sudden, because of this strong hankering and desire, he was not able to perform even his kingly duties. And the ministers were concerned. King is not doing, his duties also. He's just sitting morose and saddened. And what should we do? We need to somehow find a deity form of the Lord. So they were having a meeting once in the assembly in the kingdom. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a Brahmana came. And then he started to tell that if you want to see this form of the Lord, he is there as Nila Madhava, and he is there on the Niladri hills. And as soon as the king heard this, he got up and he was so excited, and in his excitement he wanted to ask more questions to the Brahmana. Before he could reach to the Brahmana disappeared. He appeared just out of nowhere, and he disappeared also like that. So now they had some information, but not all information, okay? As Radha Nila Madhava. Nila Madhava is, we have Radha Nila Madhava in Houston temple, right? Nila means bluish. Madhava is Krishna's name, husband of goddess of fortune, Madhava. So Nila Madhava. Each deities have their name. Shyama Sundara. Radha is there, and Shyama Sundara. He is very beautiful. Shyama means bluish color, and then Sundara is beautiful. So this is Radha Nila Madhava, and that's all the information they got from the Brahmana, and he left. And now they were like, the king was so excited, so he sent his men. Typically Brahmanas, he sent throughout his kingdom to find the Niladri hill and find Nilamadhava there. But they could not, everybody went and searched, but could not find and came back. Except for one person that had gone and didn't come back. And that was the chief of the Brahmanas there in the kingdom, and that his name was Vidyapati. He did not come back. And so what is happening with Vidyapati? Here king is waiting, but on the other side, what is happening with Vidyapati? Vidyapati was searching and searching and searching, but could not find. And then he got so exhausted. It was maybe more than a month or so, just searching. He was exhausted and very tired. So he happened to go to this village. It's a village of a tribe called Sambara, if I remember the name correctly, Sambara. They are, in Vedic times, they are called to be outcast, known as outcast, means they are a hunter group, hunter tribes, and Brahmanas don't associate with, those who are hunters and all those little less mode of ignorance and like that. But he had no choice. Vidyapati had no choice. He was so tired. Even though he knew this is the village of Sambara, the hunter group, tribe, he still went and knocked on one of the houses. And that house was the house of the chief of that tribe. The chief himself was not at home. He went, so when the door was open, it was opened by his daughter. And the daughter saw, how exhausted and tired he was. She invited him inside and asked him, please wait till my father comes. So when the father came, the father inquired from him and all that, and then he also found out that he is so tired. So then he said, why don't you take some rest for a few days here? You don't need to travel around looking. Actually, he did not reveal why. It does not say why he came. Vidyapati did not say he was looking for, Nila Madhava and all, but he was just there. And as a pilgrim, they invited him, just stay at their home. And this is Satyuga, right? We cannot just invite somebody unknown in Kali Yuga, stay at our home. But this is Satyuga. So he agreed. Vidyapati said, okay, I'll rest at your home for a few days and then I'll leave, whatever. So in those few days, the chief, there is a name for him, but I'm not sure. So I'll just say the chief. The chief asked that, why don't you marry my daughter? So Vidyapati agreed, although that's not the tradition. A Brahmana would not marry, like we said, it's a hunter group, hunter tribe, little, lower class. That time it was considered all this. So still he agreed and he married. And then he noticed, now that he was living there with them, he noticed that the chief was going out, leaving the house at night and coming back very early morning only. He was not there whole night. And when he returned home, he would be he would emanate like fragrance from out of his body. So he inquired from his wife, where does your father go? My father-in-law, my father-in-law, where does he go every night and he's coming back only in the morning? And even when he comes back, he's so fragrant. So the daughter said, you know what, I am not supposed to reveal this to you. It's a secret. But since you are my husband, I'll share it with you, but please keep it with you. My father goes to worship Lord Nilamadhava, and he comes back only in the morning. And nobody knows about this except for me, and now I've shared it with you, you know about it. So the Vidyapati was very excited. That's what he was looking for, he was out looking for Nilamadhava, and now he's getting this news. So he told his wife that, can you please ask your father to also take me with him one day? And she said, I can try, but he does not take anybody. I have also, nobody knows about it. But he pleaded with her, please ask. And then she asked her father, and he said, okay, I'll take him, but I'll take him blindfolded. I'll cover his eyes so he cannot see the way where we are going. And he agreed. But before he left with his father-in-law, Vidyapati he asked his wife to give him some mustard seeds. And he took the mustard seeds and tied it in his cloth. And as they were going on the path, his intention was to put the mustard seeds on the way, so that after some time when they return, maybe after a few days or something, at least he can find the path, because of the mustard seeds would have grown into plants or something. That's what he did. So he went, and then he was taken in front of, they approached the hill, and when they approached the hill, Nilamadhava was not there. No, sorry. One second. I just want to make sure. By the way, the daughter's name is Lalita. Sometimes I forget the name. Lalita is the name of the daughter. So he told the, I'm missing one thing. So he took his son-in-law and he said, wait here, I'm going to fetch some flowers and fruits from the jungle and wait here till I come back. So while Vidyapati was waiting there, he had not yet seen the deities, but he was waiting there. He was, of course, the blindfold was taken away from him. He could see. He was waiting there. He saw there was a pond with water, and there was a crow sitting on the branch, and the crow all of a sudden fell into the water. And immediately he died, and he attained a spiritual form, and he went back to the spiritual world. So he was surprised to see this. Wow, I can do the same. I can just give up my life here and I'll go back, I'll just dive myself into the pond and I'll attain the spiritual body. So that was his intention after seeing the crow. So as soon as he was about to do that, a voice came. He heard a voice, and the voice said, Vidyapati, don't forget that King Indradyumna is waiting for you. He's been waiting for you to come back. All the other men came back, but he was not back. So he thought maybe Vidyapati has something to share. That's why he's not back. And so you have a responsibility. You have to go and give this information about Nilamadhava, that now that you know where Nilamadhava is, Nilamadhava is found, and you have to inform the king. This is not the time for you to just give up your body. So Vidyapati decided against giving up his body, and then the father-in-law came back, and when he was serving the deities, because he went to fetch the fruits and flowers, right? When this happened, this thing with Vidyapati happened, the father-in-law had gone to get fruits and flowers. He heard the Lord speaking to him. The deities said, I have accepted your service for many years, but now I want to take this service and give it to King Indradyumna. So when he heard this, he thought the Brahmana, the son-in-law, the Vidyapati, had confided with the deities and made a plan or something that his service is going away now and Nilamadhava is not wanting to stay back here, and he wants to go to King Indradyumna. So he got very upset and very angry with his son-in-law, Vidyapati, that I brought you here, I made a mistake. I should have not even brought you here. And he got very angry and he tied his son. He wanted to actually kill him, but because he was his son-in-law, he decided against it. I won't kill you, but I will tie you here and leave you here for the wild animals to kill you. I don't want to kill you myself. So he tied him, left him there, and he went home. And then father came back, husband did not come home. So the daughter was asking, what happened? He went with you. Where is he? He said, then he told her everything. This is what happened, and I've left him there, tied him up, and left him for the wild animals as their food. He may die there. So she immediately ran to the forest and rescued him. He untied him and rescued him. Then Vidyapati said, he told his wife, I'm planning to go back to King Indradyumna. This is the desire of Nilamadhava also, So I need to go back. Of course, I'll come back, but for now I need to go and tell King Indradyumna about this. So he returned to King Indradyumna, and then he told what all had happened. And King Indradyumna was very excited that, wow, we finally found Nilamadhava. So he said, let's all go, all the soldiers and everybody. He took and went. Now when they reached the place, they could not find their deities there. So this was again a puzzle, you know. They went, he was so excited. First the Brahmana disappeared, right? He gave the information initially, one Brahmana appeared, disappeared, giving some information. Now that he found Nilamadhava, Nilamadhava himself is not there. So what should be done? And of course, Vidyapati found his way by the mustard seeds that he had planted. That's how he found his way back. So what did King Indra? He was very anxious, and now he got very upset and angry that this must be the doings of the chief of that hunter tribe, right? The community. He was worshipping, and now he tied his son-in-law, Vidyapati, and now when he found out that his daughter has gone to rescue him, and so he must have taken away Nilamadhava and taken him to some other place. So then, being so angry, because one is so anxious to get something, one finally almost is about to attain it, and it escapes one's hand, and then it's very, the feeling is of anger that I was almost there, of all these things happened, and now it's taken away from me. So the anger was more for King Indradyumna. So what he did was, he captured the entire village, and he called all his soldiers and everybody, and he stopped all the food supply, water supply, and thinking that somebody will reveal where they have hidden Nilamadhava. But nobody revealed, because they had not taken Nilamadhava. They themselves didn't know also where Nilamadhava went. So then, again, King Indradyumna this time heard a voice predicting, saying that, why are you torturing these people unnecessarily? They do not know. I myself have disappeared from this place, and I am at the bank of an ocean as a log. You should take me and carve deities from that log. So as soon as this prediction was heard, King Indradyumna, he went to that place, the ocean, and he found that log. So he asked his men to pull out the log. First 10 people went or 20 people went. They could not move the log at all. Then they asked for more people, more men, 100. No effect. It won't even move. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, no effect. It won't even move. Elephants were called in. Hundreds of elephants. Think about it. Elephants can just, turn over a car or something, but hundreds of elephants also could not move the log. So what was going on? So at every step, there is some mystery. He reaches to some point, and then something happens that he's not able to go further. So then again there was a prediction. He got a dream actually. So again the King Indradyumna was very, very anxious that what's happening? I found the log now. I have to carve the deities. Now we are not even able to pull it out. So he got a dream. In his dream, he was told that have Vidyapati and his father-in-law pull out the log. And they were called upon, and they could easily, just one side and the other side, they both hold the log, and they were easily able to move the log from the bank. So, so he wanted to carve the deities now. That's what the instruction was. He employed the best of the carvers, to carve the deities. But as soon as they touched the log, their equipment with which they would hammer or something would break into pieces. All the tools they used would not work. So, again, there is a stop point. What's going on? Now. So again he became frustrated. What is happening? And then one day an old man came, and he said, I will carve the deities. He introduced himself as Ananta Maharana. And he said, I will carve the deities out of this log. He was an old person, not... but he said, I will do it on one condition. The condition is, as long as I am working, I'll work in a room, closed room, and as long as I am working, nobody should disturb me, nobody should come inside. If at all anybody comes inside or opens the door, that's it, you know. So that was the condition. And King Indradyumna said, okay, I agree. And he was very excited that finally he's going to have a deity form of the Lord. So he would just stand outside the door and he could hear the working, his name is Ananta Maharana, you know, himself working and making some noise and all that. And one fine day, it was I think 14th day or so, the noise stopped, the sound stopped, and he was worried. What happened? Did he get a heart attack? Because he's an old man, you know, what happened? He might have been exhausted and he just fell off. What's going on? We can't go inside. So he was again very anxious. Now I cannot even open the door. You know, if I open something, he told me not to open it. So, but finally he could not keep himself like that. He opened the door. And as soon as he opened the door, the old man was nowhere to be found. He disappeared. And he just saw 3 incomplete, apparently it looks incomplete, forms of the Lord, as we saw Lord Jagannath standing there, like on the, and King Indradyumna felt very bad that, you know, this form of the Lord was not completed because I opened the door because there was no sound. I could not keep myself like that. And it's because of me, the Lord's deities are now incomplete, not completed. And again, he himself decided to give up his life because he thought this is a great offense. I should not have committed this offense. I'll give up my life. So he sat on a kusa grass and he stopped his eating and drinking. And after 3 days, he heard a voice again. It was the voice of the Lord saying, do not think that my form is incomplete, King Indradyumna. This is the form I wanted to appear in as, and rather what you should do now is you should just decorate my form and worship me, Shringar, and worship me, and install me in the temple, and I'll accept your worship. So this is, the voice also said, this is my eternal form, you know, and I'm eternally present in the spiritual world in this form. So he was very happy, the king was very happy. He made the necessary arrangements for the deities to be worshipped. And of course, what we saw is Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra, the 3 logs that look like apparent incomplete forms of the Lord, but they are Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and that's the wish of the Lord, that's how he wanted to appear. So there is another, if we see the form of the Lord, you know, like I said in the beginning of the class, the hands are stretched out, the eyes are very big, and it's a very unique, maybe we can, Mataji, we can change the slide. That's a Rath Yatra. Or we can go to the first slide, Mataji, to see the form of the Lord again. Yeah, the form of the Lord, yes. So here we see, you know, the Lord's eyes. All 3 of them have very big eyes, unique features. They're sitting, and we see Jagannath and Baldev, their hands are stretched away from their body like that. So why did this form came about, right? I mean, we saw the pastime, but there is another aspect to this also, that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains, Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he explains that Krishna is the king of Dwarka. He of course, he grew up and he did some pastimes in Vrindavan, but then he moved on. He went to Mathura and then he became the king of Dwarka, and he married 16,108 wives, and he was ruling there. But the residents of Dwarka were always, the queen especially, were always concerned that Krishna, although he's present with us here, his heart and mind is somewhere else. So, and they knew that Krishna's heart is in Vrindavan. So they wanted to know the qualities of Okay, so they wanted to know the qualities of the residents of Vrindavan. How much affection Krishna has for the residents of Vrindavan. That although he's here with us, but he's always observed in the thoughts of the residents, especially the gopis and his parents and all. So they approached Mother Rohini. They approached Mother Rohini and requested her, please tell us, you were there in Vrindavan when Krishna grew up there, he did his pastimes, his activities. You know all about it. Please tell us some of it so we can understand what's going on with Krishna. And Mother Rohini said, I can only tell you when Krishna and Balram are not here or not around. Because if they hear the pastimes, or if they hear their activities, or if they hear even the name of Vrindavan, they'll be overwhelmed with emotion and hankering to go back to Vrindavan, and they would not be able to contain themselves. So I can only explain when they're not there. So one fine day, it happened that Krishna and Balram were away, and the queens requested Mother Rohini that now they are not here, please tell. So they decided, okay, if they come all of a sudden, while I'm discussing or describing the pastimes, we'll have Subhadra stand and guard at the door so that she can give us an indication that they are here, and I'll stop speaking about, his activities and pastimes. So that was the plan and that was the arrangement. So Mother Rohini started describing and everybody was listening. And then Subhadra was also listening. And as Subhadra was listening also, she also became overwhelmed with emotions of hearing Krishna's activities, pastimes in Vrindavan. So she was overwhelmed and she was choked up. Krishna and Balram were coming. Her job was to tell Mother Rohini and the queens that they are coming, stop. But because she was seeing them coming, but she could not say anything because she was so choked up. Sometimes it happens to us, like we cannot. This is very, very nice to hear Krishna's pastime, but sometimes we see something very ghastly or something, and we just cannot speak anything. We just are shocked like that. So here she was overwhelmed with emotions of, the affection of residents of Vrindavan. She could not inform Rohini and others to stop. Krishna and Balram came and they said, why are you so they saw Subhadra at the door and they said, why are you standing here? All she could do was like this, like she was, stopping them. And still Krishna and Balram could hear what was going on. So they were more curious, like when somebody stops us, don't go into the room, we are like, what's going on? I want to know also. So Krishna and Balaram was like, what's happening? And why are you so like choked up, not able to speak? You're stopping us here. What's going on inside? So as they were standing, they could hear Mother Rohini describing the activities and all the pastimes of Krishna. And as Krishna and Balaram heard that, they got, so emotionally like shaken or something that they could not, they were like, their eyes were like dilated, how we put, as we go to the doctor's office, eye doctor's office, or as a large lotus flower blooming, like that big of an eye, both of them, for Krishna and Balaram. And they just overwhelmed with emotions for the love, because it's a separation, it's the highest, the mood of, the feelings of separation from the gopis is the highest rasa, and that's what they were experiencing after hearing about their own pastime. So they also stood like this. That's where we see Lord Jagannath's form and Lord Balram's form as, just could not do anything. Eyes are big, they're smiling, but they're also like overwhelmed with emotions. And that's what the form of the Lord is also. And why is Subhadra's hand? We don't see Subhadra's hand as Jagannath and Baldev's. Anybody know why? It was, so Subhadra felt, she was feeling guilty that I was stopping Krishna and Balaram from entering with my hands. So as a, one second. So as a sense of guilt, her arms she withdrew from her body and within her body, because she was feeling very guilty for not allowing Krishna and Balaram to enter the room. So as a repentance, we can say, she withdrew her arms within her body. And that's where Subhadra does not have hands stretched out like Balaram or Krishna, Jagannath. So this is the intense, how Krishna can be moved by the intense feelings of separation because of residents of Vrindavan, because they are very, very, very special. And that even residents of Dwarka wanted to hear about why Krishna even, having so much attachment towards them, that he cannot contain himself. So this is the pastime. There is, of course, much deeper pastime than this, but we are not going to discuss that today. A different aspect to this whole pastime of why this form of the Lord, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, came about. This is one aspect of it, one story, this is from Skanda Purana. So the reference is from Skanda Purana. So Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maharani ki Jai. Any questions, any comments? I don't know much, but I can, Satyasara is here. So.
Why did Mother Rohini say the pastimes? Why not Mother Yashoda?
Mother Rohini was there in Dwarka. Mother Yashoda was not there.
Oh, okay.
I think she is the only one who is at Dwarka and Vrindavan.
Vrindavan.
Yashoda always in Vrindavan only. And Devaki always in Dwarka only. So only one person who is at both places. His mother Ravati, Rohini.
Rohini.
Mataji, all three of them does not have legs, right?
They don't
Have legs.
yes. So the limbs were withdrawn, only the arms were stretched. They were trying to, so actually, I may have forgotten one point, that why the arms are stretched is because as Krishna and Balram were hearing the pastimes or their activities as described by Mother Rohini, they were feeling the presence of residents of Vrindavan. So they wanted to embrace the residents of Vrindavan. They felt like they were there in Vrindavan, and that's why their arms are stretched. That's the reason. And of course, we saw the reason why Subhadra's arms are withdrawn from the body, within the body. Any other question?
Yeah. Devotees online, if you have any question, please raise your hand.
So, Mataji, I have one quick question. Can you hear me? There's a lot of background noise, though.
No, Prabhu, we are able to hear you.
Okay, cool. So, Mataji, just the deities were carved. Subhadra, Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra deities were carved during Satya Yuga, right? Sattva Yuga. But then Subhadra, Krishna married Subhadra only in Dwapara Yuga, right? So, Mataji, how in Satya Yuga they know about Subhadra?
So Subhadra is Krishna's sister, Prabhu. Is it working?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Okay. So Prabhu, it's Subhadra is Krishna's sister.
Okay, Mataji. So sorry for my mistake there, but I'm just asking, like, chronologically, the events were like this whole thing happened in Satya Yuga, but Krishna's sister and all came back in Dwapara Yuga, correct? Krishna avatar is in Dwapara Yuga. So how in Satya Yuga they know about Krishna and Krishna's sister?
These are eternally, Subhadra is eternally Krishna's sister, right? Same as Balram and Baldev, or whichever way. They're always there. It's not like she was born afterwards. Actually, Subhadra is the internal potency of the Lord, the internal energy of the Lord.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mataji. Sorry, Subhadra was also the person guarding the door, is it? Like, sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Yes. Subhadra was given the charge of guarding the door. So
Okay.
keep Krishna and Balram away from hearing the pastimes or their own activities.
Okay. Cool, Mataji. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu has a question.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Accept my humble obeisances. Mataji, to one of the Prabhuji's previous question, in the, like how they know in Satya Yuga only that in Dwapara Yuga Krishna is coming. Maybe I'm wrong, but it is written in Valmiki Ramayana, Mataji, that at the end of the war, completely at the end of the war, when after in Lanka, when Rama went to for Mother Sita in Lanka. So in that place only Brahma appears after the war, immediately after the war. This is the scene happens actually. So Brahma, Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva, everyone comes, and at that time they will ask, they will tell like, okay, Brahma will ask Rama that, do you know Rama, who are you? And Rama replies that, no, I am the son of Dasharatha. That's it. That is, I am a human and I am a son of Dasharatha. Then Brahma explains to Rama that, Rama, you are not only Rama, you are like the entire creation. Every creation came from you, and you are Lord Narayana, and you are everything. And it's not only you, you came into this as Rama, and previously you got, like next you get Narasimha, and he explains, Brahma explains everything that you will come in this form, Varaha and everything. And in next Yuga, you will take the form of Krishna. So you are itself your Narayana. He will explain. Then also he will not believe that I am God. Then Dasharatha comes from the higher planets and he will tell, yes, Dasharatha tells that, yes, Rama, you are Lord Narayana. So to answer to Prabhuji's question, this may be some response. So maybe I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I just want to explain. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Any other questions in the temple room or in the online?
We'll conclude. No
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Jai Subhadra Mataji. That's a wonderful lecture about Lord Jagannath and Baldev Subhadra. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.
All of you, please stand up. We will start Gaura Arti.
विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare
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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Jaya
Hare
Krishna
Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram
Jaya
Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram
Jaya Radha Krishna Jaya Radha Krishna Jaya Radha Krishna Jaya Radhe
Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Jaya Radha
Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga
Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Hari Bol
Hari Bol
Hari Bol
Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Nitya Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaur Hari Bol
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotara Shata Shri Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की नवदीप धाम की यमुना देवी गंगा देवी तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की बृहत मृदंगा की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की सामवेद भक्त वृंद की गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Hare Krishna Temple of Austin. Ki Jai.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad Lad Dayine. Prahlad Lad Dayine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshah. Hiranyakashi Purvakshah. Shilatankanakalaye. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito narsimho parato narsimho. Ito narsimho parato narsimho. Yato yato yami tato narsimho. Yato yato yami tato narsimho. Bahir narsimho hridaye narsimho. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapatye. Narasimhamadim sharanam prapatye. Tava kara kamala varenakam adbhuta shringa talita hiranyakashipu tanuvringa keshavadrita narahari rupa jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Anuvringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tava Kara Kamala Varenakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय प्रह्लाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल
महाराज की Thank you, Sarveshwari Mataji, for the Pujari service. Thank you, Sevya, for wonderful Kirtan. And thank you, Jishnu, for supporting, Neha Mataji for repeating.